Swing it, boys, swing for the fence. Shove it, boys, make 'em miss. Some big league chew and a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Blitz, Bama, Blitz.
Welcome everybody again to the Weekly Joe podcast, your authority on Alabama baseball as we discuss the end of the season. And it's come down to this. We're now in the off season, which promises to not be a dull one with portal entries, hopefully good success in portal recruitment and building for the future. We will recap everything that happened over last weekend at the regional in Hattiesburg. We'll talk a little bit about the what went right, what went wrong with this team. Kind of, let's determine what's the legacy of this team. What mark did they leave behind? Fond memories of this team, and we'll talk a lot about that. And then we'll kind of preview what is to come with this program. A lot of guys already portaling out, a lot of seniors, a lot of guys draft eligible. We'll start to talk to you about how this roster might start shaping up as the fall rolls around. Of course, not knowing who all else might land on it, but also knowing a pretty good recruiting haul that we've got coming in as well. We'll preview the super regionals. We'll see if any of these guys know anything about ball as far as picking how those are going to pan out. And we got a lot of your questions, and we will get to all of them tonight before we are done recording. Again, the Weekly Joe, I've got with me, as usual, Roger Myers, perfect attendance certificate this year. Coming to us from the Tuscaloosa office, I believe, tonight.
Yep. Yes, okay. Correct. I got home. I got home yesterday.
All right, good deal. Drew Champlin coming to us from the friendly confines of dangerous Hoover. Griffin Smith manning our Texas bureau as usual, and Meghan Dennis coming to us from one of the probably the more controversial regionals over the weekend. Maybe not so much for what happened on the field as much as what happened before one of the games, and we'll touch on that a little bit. But coming to us from the site of Coastal Carolina University, her employer, Conway, South Carolina, and the Shants again. We call them the Shants or the Shants? I heard it two different ways.
Shants.
The Shants, that's what the locals call it. Okay.
Yep.
I've been doing it wrong then. Okay. The Shants go to Auburn. So, of course, this weekend we are all Shants. All right, let's get right into it. We got a lot of ball to talk. We got a lot of speculation about next season in the coming weeks. So let's just get right into it. The weekend, Southern Miss Regional, Hattiesburg Regional, Alabama, Miami, Columbia, Southern Miss kind of started with a bang. Started really poorly for the higher ranked teams on the first day, both falling. Southern Miss recovering and getting back to force a seventh game, but then falling to Miami. It's been a pretty well played bunch of games. Roger, you were there, obviously. I guess probably got to see the first three games, or just stay for any more of it.
I didn't stay any longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Your thoughts on just the region, just based on the 2 days that you were there, that pretty.
Phil, all the more that Southern Miss has no business ever hosting a regional. But other than that, yeah, it was fine. They were like run around with like chickens with their heads cut off. They
not ready. The facilities not adequate. Amenities not. What's
all of that facilities. Accommodations and in Hattiesburg, the rundown ratty old stadium with like 90% metal bleachers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rabid fans. They
well attended. It looked like
well attended. They they love their baseball there. It's just, I mean, I had one of the staff members say that one of the workers there that was helping them navigate everything said, we're just not big enough to be doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, and just being honest about it, and that the whole ticket fiasco of waiting till
Yeah.
Wednesday night, practically,
Right.
the
For
boys didn't know
Friday
if
start.
they were getting 4 tickets, 2 tickets. I mean, so had people from a lot of far off places
Uh-huh.
trying to get there, not knowing if there was tickets available or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just, baseball wise, they love it, and not, knowledgeable fans.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much, but
Yeah.
it it's just not a
ideal.
great place. No. And
Not ideal. And again, the home team was coming. I mean, the home team got there by virtue of a long extended winning streak and the 20-ish. What did it get up to? Almost 20 games. I think Coastal got up to maybe up to 21.
seems like it was 18.
believe so.
Yeah.
7 Miss 18 or something like that.
Yeah. And we questioned it. I mean, when we were making our case for Alabama, obviously the case was against them, and still felt like we should have been hosting. We didn't do our part, and that's kind of the way it goes. And then we show up the weekend, and we really don't prove it. We didn't prove anything otherwise, I guess. So there you have it. But when the games were on, it just I don't know. It felt, obviously you give up a 3-run homer 3 batters into the game on Friday. Pretty uncharacteristic of Riley Quick. He's been touched for a home run or two, but and 1 or 2 early. But it felt like we were in a hole right away, Drew, and then we while we climbed out of it, we had momentum, and then we just flatlined. The rest of the game was just nothing.
Yeah, we really haven't had too many games like that where the first inning went like that. I think maybe the Auburn Friday game seems
Yeah.
like was one of those. Just kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, and it was really just we had some hard hit balls. Luck just didn't really go our way. You think about the second batter of the game, Bryce robs a home run, but he drops the ball when he hits the wall. So
Mhm.
if that's a catch, it's probably a totally different ball game. So
Exactly. Uh-huh.
yeah, just kind of couldn't get enough going, and just LeBron gets that hit in the first where we thought he could have gotten to third, or was that I can't remember if that was his first or second bat.
No, it was first inning.
Is that first inning? Yeah.
So you're thinking he could have gotten to third. Well, then a run would have scored if he'd gotten to third. So it's, you don't chip away in the first, then it's like you have less and less time to do it. So yeah, frustrating game. And then obviously at the end, there's more that led to the very last hit of the game, but just a frustrating game.
Yeah. Yeah. Meghan, I mean, the arm Miami threw out there was not, it didn't look like I said he wrote, Drew, you reminded me of Dennis Martinez. We were he kind of reminded me of that. He kind of had a little herky jerky motion, a lot of movement on the ball, but what an overpowering arm. So I mean, it was unusual that you would think you would feast on something like that after facing the arms you face in the SEC, but we just didn't.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like, we 100% have seen much better pitching. I mean, even in our own inner squads, we've seen much better pitching than
Right.
what that guy had. And it's just like nothing. And it guess kind of is how the end of the season kind of went. It was just like nothing really was going to go our way when we needed it to go our way.
Right. Griff, we hit a lull in the middle of this game. I mean, after we'll talk about how we kind of got back into it, but after we kind of recovered and cut it to 4-3, and then I think we gave up a quick homer right off the bat in the 5th. We go in the 5th. We get a hit in the 5th. We get 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. We go 1, 2, 3 in the 7th. We get something going in the 8th, but we leave them and leave 2 on. And then in the 9th, we got something going on. But I mean, I think what hurt us is that lull, the 5th, 6th, 7th. Just looks like we lose focus. We don't. I don't know. They lose a sense of urgency. I know there's a lot that is said about, hey, the team mentality is passed along to the next guy. Well, at some point, you're that guy, right? And it didn't feel like we had that guy there that day.
Yeah, having the lead cut to 1, figure okay, we're gonna hold them here, and then it didn't happen. It is what it is, and figured, well, hopefully the dugout vibes are better and they'll get through it. Like you said, they got the hit, but then I Roger, I know you were there, but it seemed like from the broadcast they were apt to go through the fifth and it didn't pan out, and then get through the sixth, and it's like, well, it's getting a little dicey here, and
Yeah.
until we got to the ninth, it felt like something would turn there.
Yeah.
Mentally, I don't know if they were, they had bad hangover from Hoover, or they just they weren't going to piece it together. To your point, I didn't think that the Miami guy was all that. He was kind of hurling it. He wasn't truly.
He's very human, very.
Well, I mean, y'all say that, but I mean, if you look at his numbers, I mean,
yeah,
the dude was a freshman. He had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
I
No, I
mean,
agree.
64 innings, 49 hits, only 15 walks and 64 strikeouts. 2.207 batting average against. I mean, nobody hit this guy. I mean, I mean, in the ACC, it's proven that they're a pretty damn good league.
Damn good conference. Yeah. You think it's just because it's something unusual? I mean, it's a little.
I guess. I mean, maybe, but I mean, he's their dude. I mean,
yeah.
And in the eighth, we had something going, and our nemesis Cavay took a double and a run scored away from him when Hodo smoked that ball down the line.
But smoked it. Absolutely.
He lays out and then gets up and makes a hell of a throw. And then I was watching whichever night, Sunday or Monday, and he just lets a regular ground ball go under his glove. And I thought, I mean, you lay out all the way to the line, make a play, get up and make an unbelievable throw. And he made a couple other nice plays in that game too. And then,
really did.
Like, damn, why didn't you do that? And I mean,
guess that was kind of where my head was at, though, is that I felt like our team, we had an opportunity to really make a statement for not hosting. I thought we were going to perform better, and I think that was honestly.
Yeah,
we did seem, and I think people watching on TV said they could kind of tell we just kind of seemed dead. There wasn't a lot of life.
Yeah, no,
and y'all could see, I guess, into the dugout. Like we were right behind the dugout, so we could only see the top of some of the guys' heads and stuff. But
right,
I don't. We're not a flamboyant out there kind of team anyway. I mean, we're not doing the, thank goodness we're not doing what some of these other people do, but maybe we need a touch more of it, a little.
Felt like this would have been a really great year for the disco ball helmet or some sort of, dugout juice thing, but, not even the teddy bear. Who knows? Maybe that'll be the guys that are coming back, we'll touch on them. Maybe that'll be something.
But apparently, like, you can't step out of the dugout with that on.
With anything like that, yeah.
Did you see that kid get thrown out? Like, he got up to slap his guy, give his guy 5 for hitting a home run, and they throw him out of the game.
Yeah. And the weekend, I mean, what could have been? I mean, the ball
the way it fell with Vandy.
Yeah.
Not, probably playing more like what we thought they should have been.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like our Sunday game turned their season around.
It really did. Yeah.
And I mean, because I wasn't that impressed with them, and then they just went on that friggin' run.
Right.
I mean, but they had a bunch of 250, 260 guys with 3 or 4 or 5 home runs, and then for 2 to 3 weeks, nobody could get them out.
Quit. Yeah. And what he's talking about, Louisville wins the Nashville regional. So, I mean, they were a 2 seed. So if we could have come out of this one, we'd have been a 2 bidding against Louisville, I guess, for, the NCAA. We'd have gotten it.
We would have hosted for sure.
But even, as I don't know, it almost felt, it reminded me a little, Drew, of, the football season. Under Coach Saban, everything was just so structured, and you rarely had all this just chaos until, a couple of teams that were a little bit like that. But it's just, you knew what to expect. And the football team this year was just, some of those games were just so damn chaotic and frustrating to watch. This one was a little bit like that to me. It was just like you're behind, you're scrambling, but you just can't do what you need to do to get over the hump. And then the way it ended, I mean, good Lord, you're left holding your hands. How did that ball not get out? I mean, your thoughts on that?
Man, the eighth inning of both games was really frustrating. And I think back to when Miami brought in that lefty, and Brady Neal was up, and I really thought that we would pinch hit.
Exactly.
I thought Staten maybe could have gone Plattner, especially after Plattner in the home run, but definitely just to go righty lefty. And I want to say, and I could be wrong, I feel like Rob said after the game that lefties hit this pitcher better, but Brady Neal's average against lefties is a lot better. So I really was a little perturbed we didn't pinch hit there because, even if you pinch hit, you can put in Plattner to finish the game at catcher. So,
Right.
and then he just, Brady didn't look very good in that at bat. He had
Awful.
And so
Bad that bat. Yep.
but the Snell, we get two on
after two outs.
After 2 out, two
Fowler,
pretty uninspired outs, right?
Fowler had a rip and LeBron walks, and then I'm thinking this guy's throwing cheese. It's not moving. Oh wait, LeBron did.
Got hit in the thigh.
That's right, but I think it would have been ball four. But anyways, and I'm like, man, I'm watching at home and I'm yelling, and I didn't. By the way, Cade kind of tossed his bat after he hit it. I was like, man, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then just the worst feeling in the world is when you see the Miami center fielder slow up at the wall, and I was so pissed.
Yeah. Cade told me after the game. He said, "I thought I had it. It was gone."
Yeah.
And Rob said Riley was behind him. He picked him up in a big bear hug, and he said, "Big guy, I don't think he got it. Big guy, put me down."
Yeah. The wind. I mean, there were that day the ball wasn't going out. The next day,
that ball was going out earlier.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Both of their home runs were hitting up just almost to that spot.
Exactly.
If Cade had pulled it. 10 feet to the right. I mean, it was it was 400 to center, and he hit at 399. And
tough way to
we win the regional. We win the regional if that happens.
I mean, you're set up. At that point, you're okay. We got to beat Columbia tomorrow, and we're sitting kind of pretty. Hat off to Bryce Fowler. I thought.
13 pitch it back to get on base.
Yeah, 13 pitch it back with 2 out. In the with really your season on the line, because you lose this game, it's going to be tough to come back and win this regional. But a 13 pitch at bat, he fouled off 6 or 7 pitches.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
And before hitting it to first, and they called that an error. I mean, probably
I called it a hit, but
But hats off to him. I had, Snell he cooked that ball on the way out. Other bouquets we throw here. Riley got off to a really rough start, obviously, in that first inning, but then settled in and just chewed up innings. Meghan, I thought, that you went 108 pitches, which you hadn't seen him go all year. What'd you think of his effort out there on Saturday or on Friday?
Yeah, it was a very not cue first inning, which unfortunately kind of ended up being that difference in the game. But other than that, Riley came out and he was Riley, and for what could be the last time in an Alabama uniform, I don't know how much more we could have asked for from him. It was a great outing, and other than if we ignore the first inning, amazing outing. Other than that,
6 innings, he gives up 8 hits. 5 runs that were all earned. 3 right off the bat, and another home run later. Struck out 6, walked 4, didn't hit anybody. Does go 108 pitches. Matthew Heiberger was, it was just money. Comes in, I think the only blemish on his 3 innings was he gave up a walk, and I think we wiped that out with a double play. So, you really got to tip your cap to the way Heiberger pitched and the way Fay pitched on the following day. Again, it's that we were not equipped to play 5 games in 3 days or whatever it would have been. 4 days? We were not equipped for that. And if you were going to get anywhere or get back in this thing, you were going to need guys to chew up innings. And I thought those guys did a really good job of that.
Yeah, that's exactly what you would have wanted in that situation. And again, going into that second game, figured, okay, I feel comfortable that this is something, we took care of business against Southern Miss during the season. I figured, well, we can do the same again today. I had no doubts that should have gone the same way. And unfortunately, those breaks didn't fall our way. And
right.
Yeah.
Back and forth game. We transitioned to Southern Miss. Obviously, we jump out to 1-0 lead in the third. They get 2 back. We get 2 back. We're swapping. I guess that was a Hodo home run, and maybe in the 4th, I believe. They tied in the 4th, and we jump up 2 in the 7th. They get 3 in the bottom of the 8th, and we'll talk about that. And we talked about the the strategic decision around the righty lefty situation there in the first game. A couple of them here kind of bothered me, I thought. Drew, you mentioned one on the pitching decision in the eighth. Tell me your thoughts on the quick hook for Braylon Myers.
Yeah, it's kind of what we do. I mean, it didn't really surprise me. I kind of wish, Braylon had a good seventh. He had a 2-out walk, and then basically gives up a home run. And I kind of wish we would have maybe tried one more batter, and then you go to Oz. But that's kind of something that, it's really, I don't think that bothered me as much as the Torres at bat,
Yes.
either the bunt or whatever. But it just kind of, and then of course, when we walked that lefty to set up the bases loaded, I loved that move.
Yeah,
And I
did
think
too.
everybody
Yeah.
did. It just didn't work out in our favor because the next guy
Yeah.
was able to take a
Guy got
2-out
pissed.
slider and just kind of go with it, just put a nice swing on it. You wish we would do that, but a lot of our guys seem like they're swinging for the fences a lot. So just a really solid at bat by their guy, unfortunately.
It wasn't a bad pitch. It was it was, I mean, it was a slider. It just didn't have the late bite that you like to see from your slider. It kind of hung out there. I mean, if normally you might get that late move and bite away from him, and he can't really barrel it up, and he did. It was a really good piece of hitting. I mean, I can't complain about the pitch. But Roger, let's talk about that Torres situation in the eighth.
I mean, when he came up, I think I was sitting with Kent and John JYS, and it's like, and he squared, and I was like, if he's set on button, you got to put John Young, you got to put JYJ.
Yes, just someone that can get a button.
I mean, because he's proven in his not very much playing time that he's gotten three bunts now, one he beat out for a hit.
One he beat out.
And he's one of our better, and a kid like Torres, a big slugger, has he ever bunted in his life? I mean, probably or been asked to. And and he gave it a shot. Very uncomfortable looking.
Uncomfortable, yeah.
And then he he worked it to a full count and then swung at ball 4. Which would have loaded the bases with no outs. And then Brennan comes up in the second pitch, he wraps into a double play, and it's like, here we go.
Yeah, first pitch.
Second. It was 1-0.
It was second. Okay, yeah. I just, it seems to me it's a little bit in as we talk about this team and its legacy, there's a bit of passivity? What would be the word? Somebody, my academe here. What would you call passivity?
Passivity sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's use that.
Sounds important.
Sounds important. It's making my head spin. There's a little bit of that passivity at the plate that seems to get us into bad counts. You take that fastball just for the sake of taking a fastball, and then you're facing these sliders or these kind of waste pitches that you got to have the discipline to lay off. And I mean, I feel like this team's been a sucker for that this year, Griff.
Yeah, it's there's time and a place to take those pitches that make sense, and then there's times that you shouldn't, and at least try to get some contact even if you're fouling on it. But then you sit on some of those pitches, and then you get in those situations where they could just come back to bite you, and it's more harm than good, which is unfortunate because sometimes you just need those at bats to keep moving it along. So.
Right. Love Will Hodo, obviously. I mean, been a mainstay with his club for 4 years, but I mean, probably is a guy who, coming into the year, I mean, you always remember, I mean, the guy's got a great eye. He can judge it. I mean, if it's 2 or 3 inches off the plate, he seems to get the respect of the SEC umpires. If he took it, it's probably a ball, but it did tend to maybe bait him into pitchers counts, and his strikeout numbers were up obviously this year. Meghan, I mean, what is it you think that drives these kids come out of high school and they're just animals in high school and swinging away and hacking? I mean, obviously the pitching's different, but how do they lose that so quickly? It seems, and get into this little uptightness or tension up there.
And if I had the answer to that, I think that might solve a lot of our problems, honestly. But I don't know if it is just that pitching's different, and so it's the idea of, well, if I can see more pitches, then I'm gonna get that one. But then it's almost like, okay,
Yeah.
you're sitting there being so selective that like you're letting some that could be something kind of go right by you.
Right. How do you explain, Roger? I mean, the as good as Justin LeBron has been during the year, and while he struggled, I mean, Rube, the numbers will tell you he struggled in the SEC play in a good bit of the year. How do you explain that last at bat? I mean, he just didn't
I
have a
don't
plan
know.
coming up there. I mean, what was?
It didn't look like it. It was an ugly one for sure.
Yeah.
And of course we were off to the side and I couldn't tell, but think probably a couple of those balls were in the dirt or close to it, right?
Yeah.
And it was just 3 pitches and done.
Yeah.
Just
Pressing, trying to do too much.
Yeah, I think so. I think so from probably, middle of the season on or somewhere in there. Although, other that game wasn't great, but we were talking about numbers, but during the weekend and like over the last 8 games, he finished the season on 8-game hitting streak and was like what was it we said I got it.
8 for 20.
Yeah, and then
we were talking Norton had been on a kind of tear since coming back.
He was, Brian was going into that game was 14 for his last 34.
Yeah.
So 15 for 39. I mean, that's
right.
That's well over 300. I mean,
right.
So just not quite the power numbers. Did have several doubles mixed in there, but not the home runs and I don't know if it's when there was an opportunity, he wasn't driving in runs the way he was earlier in the year.
Right. Bryce Fowler, again, I go back 2 days in a row. Bryce just made his presence known. Gets a 3-hit game. I think homered. Drew, your thoughts on Bryce and the weekend he had, kind of a homecoming to a place he played as early on.
Yeah, he had a home run off his former team. Brady Neal hit a home run off his former team at those for ourselves. I think Cade hit one last year at Auburn, so I guess we have a tendency to do that. But yeah, Bryce, I thought just gave it his all this weekend. I mean, he laid it all on the line, and he's a guy that I really don't know what his final numbers ended up being. I know he had a bit of a slump for a while, but man, I really hope he's back next year and can be a guy to help build around. Could be a draft prospect. I really don't know. Like he's like Bonamolu will probably see get drafted and go, but Bryce is really a guy that, if I'm looking at next year and, I know the portal's going to change so much. But after the game, I was like, this was our year to at least maybe make it to Omaha. But the more you think about it, if you see next year and you got Fowler and LeBron in the top of the order, then you feel pretty good. But I really, really enjoyed watching him play, especially defensively. And I think he's kind of a guy that if he comes back next year, I think he's going to have a big breakout.
I think it's leaning toward him coming back, and there's your center fielder.
I mean, exactly. You just slide him over to center.
I mean, they were trying to decide up until the last minute which one to play in center and which one to play in right.
Right.
And I think maybe Bryce's arm in right is what
was better.
What kind of made the switch, because every scrimmage they were on opposite teams and each played center field. All through all the scrimmages, and then they would slide Bryce over to right. Here and there, or when there was, if they ever put them on the same team, but typically they weren't. Like one would bat lead off on one team and one would bat lead off on the other, and both play center field.
Yeah, I know we'll touch on the roster and moving forward needs and all that, but I'll just huge difference having a complete outfield made this team throughout the year. Obviously, the catch that wasn't out for Bryce, it is what it is, but overall there was a huge improvement from the previous year. So hoping that we get him back for sure, because that's a good 1-2 punch to have in the lineup, not defensively as well.
I touched on it, but before we leave that game, Tyler Fay in that starting role. I mean, again, there's one, roster spot. He's draft eligible. Could go. I mean, probably gonna get drafted or have a decision to make, or can signal, I'll take it. But he gives you 6 innings. I mean, again, you got to chew up innings in a weekend like this. 6 hits, 3 earned runs, strikes out 3, just very efficient. He goes 87 pitches, which, I mean, we had him on 50 pitch count, 5 weeks ago when he first kind of got into that role.
Mhm.
Your thoughts on Meghan? I mean, in retrospect, was not making the call of Faye as your third starter or your third weekend guy. I mean, I played out to be a mistake, but did it impact us? So do we win one or two more games if we change that?
Maybe. I guess, I mean, it's one of those retrospect,
Yeah,
it's hindsight's, 2020 sort of thing. I think, yeah, okay, maybe we could have done it sooner, but at the same time, Bobby got us the win at A&M. So
Yeah.
it's like we can't take away from the fact that like we didn't expect
We had
that to
some
fizzle
moments.
out the way it did. So
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it's one where maybe it would have made a difference, maybe not, but I think making the move when we did was definitely the right decision. And I know
Exactly.
it's something I think we even questioned on like, would this happen? I think it ended up being the right thing that like the team needed at that point.
Mm-hmm. The
I
call.
think I think he should have been there from the beginning, and
Yeah.
he would have been built up,
Mhm.
3 weeks into the season,
Right.
not 10 weeks into the season.
Not in the middle of this.
And he would look so much more comfortable in starting than he did out of the pen.
Yeah.
And had he thrown like that out of the pen, our pen would have, we would have had what was that, 4 really, 4 to 5 really good
Right.
options, because clearly, like Braylon, he could go 2, 3, 4, at any point.
I'll admit, I mean, I made the call. I called early in the year. I thought he was more valuable to us out of the pen because he could give you innings Friday. He could give you innings Sunday. I mean, you were going to use him that much, and it might be 2 one night and 3 another, or 3 and 2. But I mean, man, I think in retrospect, that's probably the wrong call. I'll admit it. So what happened? Let's focus on the last 5 games. In the last 5 games, we had a very we had beaten Florida after dropping the one game that probably cost us this host spot. And so in the final game of the SEC season, the regular season, with a lot to play for, we come out very uninspired and just Florida mops the floor with us. I think 9-3. That forces us into the Tuesday game in Hoover. We beat Missouri, but we burned Faye. We're kind of scrambling with our midweek guys and just get into a slugfest with Tennessee. And we are not going to win many slugfests with Tennessee the way they hit. And then these 2 games. What are your guys? I mean, if you're analyzing the psyche of this team, what happened these last 5 games? How we just run out of gas and flame out like we did, Drew?
This team, and I always wonder, did we overachieve or did we underachieve? And I lean toward the former because we did win 41 whatever games and we were picked 13th in the league. And but then again, we also had at least 5 no, I mean, sorry, 4 games that I thought we blew. The Southern Miss game and then LSU, Florida, and Vanderbilt. And so, I think Osmer looked like he was out of gas at the end of the year. He was not very good against Florida. Missouri kind of wasn't good, really that good that game, just kind of okay. So we got to figure out as a program how to be better at the end of the season because Vaughn's 0-4 in regionals. We were better than all 4 of those teams that we lost to. I mean, it's like we're not going to go beat them 10 out of 10 times, but we should be beating them when it counts. So yeah, just something you really got to look at. But this was kind of a team that, in the words of SEC and Filtered, we did not go belt to ass to too many teams, hardly any. We just won a lot of games, like 6-4 or something like that, or we were holding on to win these games. Yeah,
we got belt to ass about 4 times.
Yeah, there weren't very many comfortable wins. So that all these games went down. I mean, when your guy is setting a school record for saves, it's because these games were not comfortable wins. So
tight.
And a lot of them were in midweek.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if we didn't have to use him in midweeks, maybe he's fresher at the end of the year. That's kind of my deal on it. As far as hitting, I'm not really sure. I don't know that science as well, but you can kind of tell when pitchers are a little not the same at the end of the year because they're being had to be overused.
Yeah, from a belt to ass standpoint, in conference play, we had 5 games that were decided by let's call it 10 or more 10 run games. We were 1-4 in those games, only beating Missouri on the third game of that series. But recall Auburn 10-0, Mississippi State at home 13-3, Vanderbilt 12-2 on that first night. We had a 19-3 with Georgia. So yeah, you're right. We were winning the 7-5 games and the 4-2 or the 7-4 games and 7-5s and 5-2s. But we're on the receiving end of some of those. In SEC play, we scored 175 runs. We allowed 203 because of those big discrepancies. If you took out the Wilds with those 5 games, we were 155 to 148 over our opponents. So it's
it was 54-8 in those 4 games.
In those 4, yeah. So, I mentioned before. I mean, you only got an average of 4.3 innings out of your starters over 32 games, and when you narrow it down, I mean, to those. I got an error on my sheet. I say Missouri twice. It was Tennessee in that third game. But I mean, you talk about this last 5 games. Really, 3 of them were, the Florida game, our starter goes 3 1/3. Fay gives you 6 in the Missouri game, but then you only get 1 2/3 out of your starter in the Tennessee game in the tournament. So I mean, I think that certainly helped. Just strategically, I mean, you mentioned the. We're 0-4 in regionals during the Vaughn era. We're also 1-3.
1-3.
1-2 in the SEC
1-2. Yes.
Tournament. Tournament play is in general not great. I mean, we won 3 down in Jacksonville earlier in the year, but we're talking postseason here. And I mean, it feels like we've had some. We talked about 2 or 3 of them here, just some key situations in these games that I just don't think we made the right calls on these things. Meghan, you got an opinion on that strategically, or are we sticking to our guns and not going with our feel on some things?
That's kind of almost what it seems. I mean, it's 1 for 7 is not good odds there when it comes to postseason games, and it's just kind of like. So it's almost like there was something that switches in postseason where the decisions of like, okay, it's time to go get a guy, or it's time to bring in a pitch hitter, or something to change it up, almost kind of got left at the gate, where it was just kind of like, well, if there's any time to be like, all right, this isn't working, we need to fix it. Now's it. And I don't know what goes behind the scenes of making those decisions, but it definitely just seems like something switches in postseason, and so far it hasn't been in a positive way.
Right. Roger, thoughts on that, or just other thoughts is what's contributing to this?
Maybe they're tighten up, but I mean, if the decisions work, they're good. If they don't, they're awful. I mean, you don't know. I mean, and look, we're a foot away and a. One slider. I mean, from things being totally different, but things happen. I mean, baseball's a funny game. It's just hasn't gone Alabama's way. But this, I think Drew said this the other day or somebody, the regional at Tallahassee last year and this regional felt totally different as far as because we basically were never in. never seemed to be in those games.
No, we didn't have a lot of life in those at Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, and I mean, and we didn't seem like have a whole lot of life in Hattiesburg, but we had chance.
Be a chance, yeah.
I mean, one thing goes different. Cuvée doesn't make that play. Cade's ball goes another 8 inches. Just Eyes doesn't hit the leadoff batter, or you leave. Or Braylon stays in another batter. Just one thing, and we couldn't come up with the big hit or big pitch when needed to get over the hump.
Right. So this is, again, you go back to the difference between good and great, or really good season, really good. You go 16-14 in the season, despite having a 240 average in SEC play. And giving up 291 to your opponents, in spite of striking out 297 times while striking your opponents out 262 times, in spite of pitching 1 second, in conference. In spite of a team ERA in conference of 6 when your opponents were 4.91. I mean, there's any number of things that would have pointed at, man, you're a bottom 4 team in the conference.
Right.
And you still won 16 games. You somehow, in spite of yourself or just, grit and doing it at the right time, you won 16 games. And you were, you can go back and point to, damn, you were this close to beating Vanderbilt. You were this close to beating Florida. You were that close to winning 18. Yeah, you could have lost that first Tennessee game. And yeah, you were holding on for dear life the third game against Georgia. So 16 and 14 may be about right, but I mean, you were Griff, your thought. I mean, you're about right for us. 16-14. You feel like it overachieved a little?
Again, I'm kind of what you're at. I don't know if I would quite consider it overachieving. I think we all, back to that first episode of the season, I think we all said we were right going to be there. I think it was 15 and a half, and I think we all went over. So, I mean, I think we were right where I think we expected to be. And I mean, it's the cliche that it's a grind for, 10 weeks in a row, and it totally is. And I think if anything, that could have been, again, part of it is, they've done it for so long. And again, to Megan's point, hopefully you're pushing the right buttons and you get the right outcomes. But, maybe they're just, you reach it this far and, maybe you're running on fumes for some of these guys. And that's when you make, poor decisions at the plate or, any of a number of things. But still a lot to be, proud of this team that, looking forward, we still have a lot of good things to build on, according to all the false rumors, and hopefully nobody else falls for bad fake accounts from 24/7 All Tide that, LeBron is leaving or
had to be Vinny.
right. Or anything else that's, still some good pieces to build on. So,
Yeah. Let's do this because we get all these questions. We get all the accounts, and I give people a hard time. They're like, oh, you need to fire JJ. You need to. Well, I mean, we're not JJ ain't getting fired. Okay. I mean, the problem with this team was the hitting. All right. Yeah, you can nitpick the pitching performance in spots, but in general, we have pretty damn good bullpen. I mean, you want to tell me that Matthew Heiberger, Braylon Myers, Carson Osmer, who am I leaving out? I mean, Faye when he was in the pen. Who's my fourth? I'm missing one of our guys in the pen, obviously here. But I mean, you going to tell me that part of your team was your weakness after I just went through kind of how the starters really didn't set them up for success in a lot of ways. And I'm not knocking our starters. I mean, I think we got a lot of really quick had a great year, but he missed a couple of starts. Adams had a couple of really bad starts, but then he was just money, about half the time. And then that third spot was kind of a mess early, and we kind of got it righted with Faye. But I mean, if you were gonna look at the pitching staff, tell me a thing or two, Drew, that contributed to the pitching staff maybe not being up to what we would have expected it to be. I know I have a few, and you probably got the same ones or some of them.
I think if I have a disappointment with the pitching staff, it's that we didn't have enough really go to on, and we had like our 7. I think Banks had some pretty good moments, but you think you kind of wish, and I'm not like calling out, but like Blackwood and Morris were 2 guys who have good stuff, but they gave up some key home runs in SEC play, like Blackwood to Florida and LSU, Morris to LSU when we blew that game, and maybe those guys get a little better.
Morris in a lot of situations where you get ahead and counts. He's got
2 and
2.
So you wish. And I think I've said this before, but you have some high velocity people when they complain, they're like, well, Ole Miss is running out these 97 guys. Why are we running guys who are 89, 90, which is not really true. But you think about Ariston Veazey, Bo Bryans, Aiden Moza, and then Danny Heinz was not even on the final roster. Those guys throw 95, 96, but they couldn't throw strikes, or the coaches didn't feel comfortable. So if they were more accurate, we have a better team. So hopefully next year we've got just more options, I think. But yeah, it's those are probably my frustrations.
Do you got eyes on these guys every day in the fall? And I mean, you've seen these guys, and I mean the Bryans. I mean, and hopefully Bryans is back and gets it righted. But or VZ, who's moving on to Clemson. The guys like this who really didn't get a lot of opportunities because when they did, they just, they were walking guys or hitting guys in kind of low leverage situations. I mean, what the naysayers would say, well, you're not developing them. Well, guys have been pitching all their life, and you got a few months with them. You're not gonna fix everything, right?
Right. And in the fall, Bo Bryans was money.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw when you were there, the time you were there, you saw how
God.
nasty he was. I mean, the ball was would move, and it was in the strike zone, or at least it's Danny's strike zone. I mean, it was umpiring. And that Bryans would have really, really made a difference.
Right.
But I don't know. You go out there once every couple of weeks, and there's a lot of pressure. Okay, I've got to throw. It's like instead of just pitching, you probably start throwing or aiming. It's like I got to throw strikes if I want another chance. And kind of the same thing with like VZ had some nice moments. Jacksonville and but 2 quick outs, and then maybe a couple of walks, and then maybe a wild pitch, and then he get a strikeout or something, to get out of it. But I mean, he pitched 3.2 innings. I mean,
So, you just get what you expect. I guess making a little bit of catch-22. We're happy about the midweek record and the non-conference record. I think we're like 24-1 before these 2 we just lost. And so you're winning all these midweek games, but you were having to win them by bringing in Braylon Myers and bringing in Carson Osmer to save them. Do you sacrifice a little bit of? Maybe you lose 2 or 3 of those games. Now your RPI is probably sitting at 24 if you do that, and you're not even in the host conversation at that point. But get these guys more innings. I mean, how do you solve that?
Well, I think, okay, we lose a couple midweeks. We saw that a few years ago. That didn't get us into a regional.
No, exactly.
At all. So I don't know if you can take that risk, but then that does come the problem of for the number of pitchers we have on roster or had on roster for this year, we did not have enough of those guys be able to roll out and not roll out with enough consistency. And so then that does come to the problem of like, when are we getting them in? But I think that also goes back to the problem was not the pitching this year then. The problem was the hitting, because then even our midweek games, we weren't by enough to be able to get these guys who needed that work in at any place.
Solve the problem by scoring runs.
Exactly. That's where you got to improve this team. And whether it's with the guys you got and just changing their approach, or by going and get a few more bats. And I mean, we brought some bats in that did some good things in pre-conference season, Griff, but then just didn't pan out to be SEC type hitters. And then some of the guys you had in there, I mean, you just didn't have a lot of options beyond that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously go back to Staten getting injured, and that feel like definitely hampered probably some of the positives that we saw coming out of fall. Definitely, obviously, the start of spring. So that was obviously a hurt. And then there's always going to be some guys that don't pan out, and LeBron did his thing all season. So before we give out too many superlatives, he's obviously at the top of the list for a variety of reasons. But yeah, the hitting was definitely a point of contention all season. I mean, that's we're not going to get even with Riley's outing. It's not there's not a lot. Obviously, the homer in the first, not ideal, but he didn't put us in a situation where we're like, oh shit, we have to get like 10 runs back before we can figure it out. Like,
you just needed 6 or 7, right? I mean,
exactly. I mean, it's not like we're asking our guys to hit 2 grand slams in an inning like we did, or to get back in the ball game. So it's definitely those guys. I trust Pap. I trust Coach Mo to figure out the hitting side of things. But as with the world now, we'll see what the portal does, and who who we bring in, who decides to head out. But
this idea now that in a portal world that your pitching coach is a guy to develop pitchers. I mean, Drew, Paul Skeens showed up at LSU throwing 100 miles an hour. I mean, it's not, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's you don't get 4 and 5 years with these guys anymore. You get a fall with them. If they hadn't thrown all, we get guys that were shut down in the fall as they've thrown all summer or threw a lot last spring. Do you get that opportunity with the way that it works right now?
Yeah, the guys that we've had for a few years are the ones who've gotten better. Tyler Fay redshirted his first year because he wasn't ready, and he's probably going to get drafted this year. And if he came back next year and added a couple ticks to his fastball, he would still have a leverage year and could get drafted even higher. Braylon Myers was excellent his last 2 years here, and he kind of was not very good his first two, but just stayed the course, developed. Heiberger was really good this year, I thought, especially his last game. So, yeah, that's kind of ones that, you just but even some of those LSU pitchers, they recruited guys who, like Jacob Mayers, goes in there throwing 98, and he didn't have any consistency this year. He was not the same pitcher except for his velo that we saw in the regional at Nichols a couple years ago. So it's kind of it's a hit or miss when you bringing in guys. I mean, obviously, I wish we could develop all of them into being weekend bullpen or weekend starter guys, but it's just not how it's going to be. So hopefully we can start. No matter how long our pitching coach is here, get guys that are going to be with the program. That second year, like Hunter Furtado was a lot better his second year. I could go on and on.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about developing? You got two guys in the Tigers bullpen.
Yeah. That pitched the same.
And one was a 135-pound walk-on shortstop that had never pitched, and one was a skinny little kid that was good, but had trouble throwing strikes until his junior year, and then he blew up. I mean, they're both, well, Dylan got sent down today, but I mean, he'll be back. Chase has been up and down 3 times, so the Tigers do a lot of that. They'll use the guy a couple of times, send him down, and as long as they have options, which obviously those two do.
They do, yeah. They're contenders, so they're going to do. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to hear, nobody ever gets developed.
Not true. I think the JJ, a lot of the parents and the players really like him a lot. He's kind of like a closer. Maybe Morrison and Pappy are going to go out and get those guys, recruit a pitcher, bring them in. Now, how good are these pitchers they're recruiting and bringing in? We're going to find out this year. And JJ's more of like the closer.
Well, he's a very calm, cool, not
mature
a rah-rah kind of guy. Very mature.
And JJ's been on record before. I was going to say, JJ's been on record before in a lot of podcasts. He's looking at a guy like Luke Holman, a guy that he's been with for multiple years to get him to where he thinks is going to be the best position for him to win. And, I heard it today. It's, there's always that one relationship where somebody's, I'm going to be able to change this person and make it better or whatever. It's like, realistically, in this day and age in the portal, it's possible, but it's also a high probability that, it may not happen either. So it's,
Evelyn was like that with me for years.
Right. So
I'll say this, though. I mean, you mentioned guys coming in. I mean, obviously we got guys, a lot of guys have portaled out, we'll talk about, but you got guys that got a little bit of action this year, or that were around the team, and you'll see how the development goes with those guys. I mean, keep an eye on the Connor Layman's of the world, and
Pesci.
Who was injured all year, had a little injury, but was going to be throwing in the summer and hopefully back. Maybe one of your maybe a weekend guy next time. I mean, maybe. I mean, it projects as a starter definitely. And who knows with draft and that sort of thing. A lot of the guys that portal out, just they're going to portal out just so they can get innings somewhere, and they may not develop there either. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times. We had a guy that portaled out last year, just portaling out of where he portaled. Jackson Baker. I mean, I hate it for him, but he's already portaling out that other place.
The Montana kid transferred 3 times. Brock and Hager's transferring again.
Yeah, I mean, so it's the nature of the beast. But you got guys coming in. I mean, even the high school guys coming in. If they get here, I mean, I'm going to assume they all get here. Pipe dream. Caleb Barnett. I mean, there's an arm that could help this team. If arm is the way he goes, I think it probably is. I don't know. Garrett Carter from Allen, Texas. Help me say, is it
Luke Smears.
Yeah, he's that guy. You see his film, and he looks like a very polished lefty. I mean, Drew, you got a player comp on Luke? Have you seen
Smears?
Yeah.
You're talking about the lefty from Virginia, is that right?
Yeah. You got a player.
Charlie
I was gonna say, I think he maybe more Steve Avery than Charlie Lebrand at this point, but that's a good comp.
Yeah.
Well, and don't forget Miles Underwood.
Yeah.
Mikhail Holden.
Eric Hines is going to be a hitter, I think. But you got Zach Johnson, a catcher, a Kroberger, an outfielder. I mean, you got some dudes coming in that, I mean, as I go down that list, I think we got three of the Gatorade Player of the Years in 3 different states. Right
so
now.
far,
yeah. And Upchurch. I mean, Upchurch is going to be a hoss. It may not make it here, but I mean, again, I mean, you're getting those guys. LSU did this last year and brought in a bunch of guys. You saw some of those guys this weekend that basically willed their way into this super against a pretty game Little Rock team. Biggest if you had to, as we're out there in the, well, let's do this first. Let's talk about the roster, because I think everybody kind of got there. We figured out that the team. I think we've figured out the legacy of the team here. As I go down the roster, I got LeBron, who's not draft eligible, should be back, right? I mean, unless Vinny tweets it different. Quick will go to the draft. Bonamola to the draft. You got Bryans and Heiberger. I guess both Bryans Jr., but I think we'll see how that shakes out. Heiberger back. Faye, what you guys think? I mean, again, you mentioned it well. Hopefully his parents are listening about that year of leverage, and he's listening too. But
I think he's gone.
Ideal position.
Yeah. I think he's gone.
I think he's going to draft. Unfortunate though, because I mean, Faye might be your Friday night guy next year.
Right. Well, he was this year.
He was, yeah. Because I like the way that worked out really with him in that role. Fowler should be back. Brady Neal should be back. Buchanan's done. JT Blackwood's got another year, right? Yeah, junior.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, should be back. Luke Vaughn, you've given out Luke Vaughn. He missed the year with injury and is should be back. Osmer's done. Mizell's back. John O. Stevens has portaled out. Plattner will be back. Hodo, Finateri out. Zane Adams, interesting prospect here. I mean, if he's a second, third, fourth, even fifth round guy, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know.
I'm leaning toward return.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, he could have. I think he probably, just a hunch, he probably wants to have a better year because he's a draft eligible sophomore with a leverage year. So he gets better at certain things in the offseason. He comes back, and if he's I know in the fall, I think he was 93, 94. If he's consistently there, that's a new ball game with him. So I hope he's back, but I guess we'll see.
If he and Faye came back, that'd be like Fireline announcing back on the best basketball side the other day. I tend to think your way too. I mean, I think there's more to Zane that we just didn't see it this year. It was a little bit of inconsistency. There were just games where it looked like there wasn't any bite on what he was throwing, and the velocity seemed down early on, and when it picked back up as the season went on, I thought his results were a lot better. So I think there's upside there that he probably is going to want to show off. Now the guys that sit behind us at the games with their little speed guns and taking notes, they may think totally different and be like, "Nah, man, this guy's going second round." But we'll see. Norton, Myers, Moza, all will move on out of eligibility. Tate Robertson was a guy we saw early in the year that.
He has an option of coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he did go through senior day.
Yeah, redshirt junior, so got eligibility. Peyton Steele, I expect to see something out of him next year. I mean, maybe contend for one of these outfield positions, but it just swings he's an aggressive bat. I mentioned the whole thing about Meghan when we were talking about it. I mean, the high school guys come in and then they kind of get passive, or they get this dude doesn't care, man. He's
a antithesis of the patient Hodo and Mizell.
Yeah. Staten, Snell, our captain. I mean, I don't know the way this JUCO thing works. He's
gone.
I know he's gone.
Definitely gone. Garrett.
How's this JUCO thing shaking out now? Do we know?
I think you have to go, declare that you're coming back and try to stop me kind of deal.
Yeah.
But no, there's no shot, Kate.
Yeah.
And,
I just didn't know.
Garrett can't. I mean,
no, obviously,
so,
you had Heinz was on the list there, and I think they moved. Pacey, I think we expect a lot of him. JYJ, I think we expect a lot of upside. Torres will have a year back better next year in the system, maybe with a healthy fall.
And playing first base.
First, yeah. Although he was pretty good, he was a pretty good glove at third for us, I thought.
Yeah,
he'll be a really good for defensive first. I think with him, he was kind of a, and he did strike out a ton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If we can figure some adjustment to make with him to where maybe it's pitch recognition, maybe it's LASIK eye surgery or something like that, or contacts. I don't know, but I really feel like I want to see him back next year playing first. And if he just makes something, and I don't know what, because I'm not a hitting coach, then you're looking at an all conference type player, because he hits home runs, he hits balls hard. He's just not hitting enough of them.
I mean, he had 11 home runs and without making contact.
Dang near hit another one in the SEC tournament against Tennessee. So yeah, he's I think there's a lot more to him.
Right, I do too. I think he's the kind of guy maybe you get a leap from in that second year. Maybe go spend a weekend with Colby Shelton. We talked a little bit about him on how he cut down on the strikeouts from 1 year to the next. That's go figure out what his secret was. Ariston Veazey is portal to actually sign with Clemson. Jansen Kinty was a guy that was on the fall roster. And is but gap year portaled out. Hagen Banks, interesting one. We saw some a little tweet traffic from Mom about him. Tell him about that.
He's her first tweet was a little ambiguous, but she came back and said that she says that he would only play at Alabama or go in the draft. Right, his two options. Yeah, and and I guess theoretically he could, if he could say, okay, I got my degree. Yeah. I don't want to do any more school and I'm not going to come back. But I mean, he loves baseball, wants to play. So if he plays, it'll be in Alabama. If he plays in college, it'll be at Alabama.
A good piece, a good arm. I mean, I think was that bullpen role was interesting for him. Maybe a year healthier, from a year further out from that.
Right. He didn't progress quite as quickly as Riley did. It didn't seem. And he had it a little later, too. But he showed he could give us a good inning, pretty consistently, and just at this point,
pretty high leverage.
Beyond that, but
pretty high leverage situations too. But I do think a year out from surgery, you get a little stronger. Maybe pick up another mile or two on the velocity. Andre Madonio, I mean, we don't know about that. A little bit of a mystery. I mean, didn't really see much action. I'd keep an eye on that one. Zach Kittrell.
Portal,
we think. Yeah. Mitchell. Sam Mitchell's already portal. Sam, Sean Griggs is, was on the roster. Let's see. Connor Ball, Ahmad Duff are both portaled. Jack Ketchum, I mean, we expect him back, I think. And
he's back, yeah,
definitely back. Packy Bradley Cooney pitched a little bit during the year, but I think he's out of eligibility.
Yes.
Yeah, JoJo Williamson, obviously somebody we expect to have back. Yep. Alcock, moving on, done with baseball. Nash Wagner portaled, and then you got Lehman. Ashton Austin was on the fall roster, and
he was hurt. He was hurt the whole year. He had a lot of upside. They really liked him coming in. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then Egan Lowry's already portaled out. And then you got Austin Morris, who's got a redshirt sophomore. So I guess technically draft eligible. I'd expect he's probably that. So I didn't count that up. I mean, obviously we're 3-4 days out from the end of our season. You'll get a couple of more of these, maybe jump in the portal. Hopefully no big surprises, but you kind of look at that core. I mean, the big thing to keep an eye on is obviously Faye and Adams to me. Anybody else you guys are kind of anxious about in that regard?
As far as draft decisions?
Or
portal decisions? I mean, I guess anybody could be. I mean, LeBron, I think, if it's all about the money, he's going to get a lot of money in 2026.
Exactly.
I think if he were to leave, it would probably be because he thinks he can develop better or maybe win more. But it really feels like we're making, they just announced an extension for Rob Vaughn, and I've seen some tweets that said we're going to have more NIL support. So that means maybe we're going to add some more quality pieces from the portal. I mean, I think this is, gosh, I mean, maybe when we do this again on August 1st or 4th, and we know what the roster's looking like, we'll have a lot more to talk about roster wise. But I think my hope is that we have convinced LeBron to return and build around him, and that a lot of these pieces, or not a lot, but some of these pieces would be big portal names, and then you hope for improvements from guys like John Young and Peyton Steele, and then even the returnees like Torres and Fowler and all that. So I'm a lot more optimistic than I was after the Saturday game, after a few days to clear my head.
Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on the? You guys got concerned of Meghan? You got somebody on your mind there?
I don't know if anyone in particular. I would love to see Zane and Tife come back. I feel like Tyler may be a longer shot on that one. I think Zane is maybe a good possibility with him having that extra year of leverage. If my counting is correct, which is always subject to debate, I think it's 18 guys and that's including Zane and Tyler Fay coming back. I'm counting 18 guys right now out of the 47 that were originally on the fall roster. So there's some holes to be filled there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Signed 16 guys.
16
in the fall signing period.
Roster limit. Does the fall roster kick in at 34? Or do we know that?
Well, originally I was told it would, but now it sounds like there might be some flexibility to do the same thing, bring in them, not maybe just a total of 40 or something.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing 50 or, I don't know if that's true. And that would probably be somebody you left off on that list. That's probably wasn't on that roster was Jackson Hunter.
Oh yeah. I think I just skipped. I didn't mean to. Yeah.
I was just thinking of because like he's, at this point planning on coming back. He
had an
arm issue.
Yeah.
And, it's just, is he going to be able to show enough to be able to stay, between what he did last year and this year? But
he was a freshman. He came in from Hazel Green up in North Alabama, so it would be there. Okay, and you mentioned, I mean, you got 16, I think 16 signees. Some of those maybe draft guys. We got all right. Let's talk about those guys. You got, I think, I'd probably say 5 of those guys are draft potential, or maybe flight risk, whatever you would call them. Definitely, Barnett would be one. Hines would be one. Maybe Holden, Kroberger, and
Miles. Upchurch.
I don't know about Smyers. I mean, every time I see a video of that guy, I'm like, man, this is impressive.
Well, they like lefty pitchers, so and tall lefty pitchers, so that actually can be a
over under on those 5, 3.5 get to campus. Over under, Drew.
Hines, Upchurch, Holden, Barnett, and
Kroberger was one I thought was kind
Kroberger.
Maybe he's not.
I think he's a Jersey guy. I think John said he didn't see that. He was being had a lot of buzz about the draft.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go 2.5 on the other 4.
I will just say that we lose 3 signees to the draft, and I don't know who they're going to be.
Okay, well, that's pretty. So you'd go the under on those then probably.
I guess so.
I'm a little more optimistic. I definitely I think 2 of them. I think 2 of them go to the draft. I don't know
which 3. It just seems like it's just kind of how it goes.
It just happens. And maybe one of these other guys surprises you as well. I mean, we got but this is.
I'm gonna say.
I was thinking Barnett and Upchurch maybe the ones that get drafted and go. But
Upchurch is probably to me the highest risk guy. Now Hines is like just blowing it out of the water. I'll
say Upchurch and one of Hines and Mikhail Holden.
Okay, all right.
One of the 2. Although all of those are school-oriented families. I mean, education-oriented families.
So are we feeling better about Barnett? I know he went out to the U18 where New Balance combine thing in Phoenix, December, January, and he was
a lot of that stuff.
So I just wasn't sure if we're feeling better now. I mean, I'd love to have him. He looks like a stud. So
yeah.
And and he may end up pitching like Paul said.
Right.
That's kind of what I think.
A couple of the scouts told me that they thought he'd be a pitcher here.
Yeah.
And during the year, several of them told me they thought we would get everybody here.
Okay.
I mean, their lips to God's ears, but Miles is really, he kind of set himself up for probably a good situation. So
yeah, I feel like Rob and them want to be kind of get the high school guys that really, and man, you get 16 of these guys in the next year, you probably got 10 of them or, whatever. I feel like they want to develop around a core, kind of like we got right now. Not a big enough core for them probably. And then, use the portal as you need it. But this class would certainly be a foundation for doing that sort of thing.
Yeah. I feel like,
or go ahead.
3 of the 16 are JUCO guys, but
three. Yeah, go ahead, Griff. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, you're fine. I was going to say, I definitely think that this class is one that may, get Rob back to talking about his Wolfpack mentality of, that he wants, and build on it for the future and keep these guys around, sort of thing. So that's kind of where my head was at.
Okay. Let's do this before we get into the viewer questions. The Super Regionals coming up real quickly. Louisville, Miami, that's going to be played at Louisville. I'm going Miami. Who you got? Quickly, just around the horn, Roger.
Miami.
Drew.
Louisville.
Meghan.
Louisville.
Griff.
I think it's Miami.
Go Miami. Okay. The survey says Miami. Oregon State, Florida State. Kind of 8-9 chalk held in that one. This is at Oregon State. Man, I'd have a hard time picking against Florida State in that one, Drew.
I'm going to go Oregon State at home.
Yeah, they were hard. I mean, they would not die this weekend. They came out from the losers bracket. One, Meghan.
Florida State.
Griff.
Oregon State only because they're at home, and I think they had DJU last, right? It's the DJU regional.
That's right. It's the DJU Bowl.
Florida State had them last. I'm sorry.
Oregon State.
Beavers. Oregon State.
You got Beavers. Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's you watch that Florida State game, the Florida State weekend, and you see our two guys up there, a couple of guys, examples of portal guys that did well at the next stop. It's
Max is going to get drafted nicely.
Yeah. Here's one I'm looking at, pretty intrigued by. Carolina and Arizona. Arizona's playing really well. This is at Carolina though. I'm kind of becoming as big of a fanboy of Carolina as I am of Arkansas as I have been. I'm going Carolina on that. Just Drew.
Yeah, I'll go Carolina.
Meghan.
Carolina.
Griff.
Yep.
Roger, you make unanimous or Arizona?
I was going to, but I'll say Arizona to be different.
Okay, there you go. The Auburn Regional. Our shunts, as we have learned tonight, and the barn. The barn. As I think you saw that power ranking they did of the regionals, and the Barns maybe ended up being the second or the third quote easiest regional. None of them are easy, but there's kind of turned out to be just the way it played out. But that's a damn good team, man. I mean, they can pitch. They're pretty tough at home. I'm going Shants. Drew.
Coastal.
Yep. Meghan.
Shants up.
You guys, there a hand signal or something? What's the? There you go. Yeah. Griff.
What are you smoking a joint?
Fighting Dr. Dennis's. I'll go with Coastal.
Go Coastal. Roger.
Coastal.
All right, so unanimous that we got Coastal beating Auburn at Auburn, where they.
I think that's a lot of want to happen.
Hey, they're a good team. I watched every bit of that regional. They're sneaky good.
One of the two darlings of the regional round, UTSA goes to UCLA. The battle of the four letter teams. Man, I got to go with my Roadrunners here, Drew.
Yeah, I picked the Roadrunners in my John Chumbler Men's College World Series bracket challenge. I had picked them to beat UC Irvine, but I'm still going to stick with them here, even though they're going
Griff
on
and
the
Roger,
road.
you got them too. You're nodding, I think, but Meghan, you got them. Who you got, Roadrunners or Bruins?
Runners.
I'll go Bruins.
Again, Bros. Okay, all right. Durham, the Durham Super Regional, where Murray State comes out from the 4-hole at the Ole Miss Regional. That was a hell of a bunch of games. I mean, that was fun. Amazing the pitching performances on the back end of that game.
Wow. Yeah.
5 games into the weekend. It was amazing, and LSU too. But Murray at Duke. Does Murray? Do we get more Murray magic at Duke, Drew?
I'm gonna go Duke. They look pretty good in the Georgia regional. I mean, I wouldn't
Party's
mind.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'd love to see him make it to Omaha as a 4 seed, but I'm gonna go Duke.
Yeah. Megan?
It's probably going to be Duke, but I'll go Murray State.
Go Murray. Okay, Griff?
Yeah, love John Morant, great basketball player, but he ain't coming. See him walking through that door as Hunter Johns would say. I'll go Duke.
Mark Gottfried ain't walking through that door for Murray. Roger?
The Fighting Derek Simmons is Duke.
Okay. All right, and Duke. All right, yeah, I forgot about Derek. Yeah, Derek got some props for a waving a runner that at some point during the weekend. Somebody called him out over there third. I thought, I'll go Murray, but I think Duke gets the majority here. Baton Rouge. This one's pretty intriguing because man, the Tigers got taken to the mat by Little Rock, and man, that was impressive showing by those guys. LSU, West Virginia, Drew.
Begrudgingly, I'm going to take LSU at their place because of the first 2 pitchers, Anderson and Ianson. I don't think they're that great compared to years past. I think we should have won that series, but I think it's going to be tough to win a 3-game series in Baton Rouge.
Ianson looks damn good. Ianson looks better than Anderson right now to me. Megan?
Yeah, I agree. And then that freshman kid that threw struck out 13 in 6 innings or something.
Yeah, freshman coming in. Yeah. Megan, who'd you have?
I agree. It's going to be real hard to win in Baton Rouge at night, but let's go with the Mountaineers.
All right, Griff.
Yeah, the 1:00 first pitch Saturday is going to be toasty. Give me LSU at home.
Yeah. All right. I think the couches are safe from burning in Morgantown. I think LSU probably wins this one. And then to me, the one that even though it's a 3 and a 14, I got
LSU. I got LSU also.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. The marquee matchup to me is this Arkansas Tennessee series. The winner of that one to me probably is the favorite to win in Omaha. Honestly, Megan, start with you.
I honestly haven't seen Arkansas this year since we didn't play them. I want them to win because I want nothing good for Tennessee ever. I hate to say I think Tennessee's a good ball club. Let's go with Arkansas.
All right, Grip.
Yeah, give me. I think it'll go 3 games, but when Arkansas is rolling, get off the tracks. I guess right now
it's tough. Yeah. And at that ball yard, Roger, you got thoughts on that?
Whoa pig.
Whoa pig. All right, and Drew, you.
Yeah, I had Arkansas predicted to win the World Series. It seems like I do that a lot and they lose in the regional, but they just beat Tennessee in a series a couple weeks ago. So I'll take them in 3. I think it'll be a good series to watch.
Yeah. Tennessee has kind of turned it on.
They really have. Yeah. Tennessee's tough postseason. I'll go Arkansas just because I've been riding that train pretty much all season, but some pretty intriguing matchups, and I think that one to me is probably the most compelling of them all.
Just remember that everybody here picked at least 9 SEC teams to advance, and I picked 10. Yeah. So take this with a grain of salt.
Yeah. All right, and then now a question for the panel before we get into our viewer questions, which I'm trying to find. Here they are. Yep, here we go. I had to pull them up on the Twitter account. All right, who was the biggest asshole of the weekend? Kevin O'Sullivan. Insert the blank. Anyone from Tennessee, from the coaching staff to the players, etc., or the head coach of Wake Forest. Megan, who's your biggest a-hole of the weekend?
It's gotta be Sully, honestly. The videos that have come out from what I've heard around campus from things that that's not acceptable, that's not excusable. And it's to go after the grounds crew too.
Yeah.
Over an hour. And it's also like your team also is getting an extra hour. Like I've not been a fan of that man, I think, ever, but like that's just showing more and more. It's just
Right.
like get over yourself.
I forgot there's a fourth. I mean, obviously you're going there, but I would put a Georgia in there too. I think the Georgia team, the Tennessee team, for some of Georgia's behavior. If you saw them the other day, Griff, of those four, who's your a-hole of the weekend?
Yeah, the Wake stuff was inexcusable. Hate seeing that, but yeah, Sully not only blowing up on one guy and it was on video, blowing up on a second guy that was on video, and it's like and then he had the statement, but I know in our group chat, I don't think he wrote a word of what he may have said in that statement. Yeah, I don't know. It's not a good look. Sully, it's the dunce cap for the week.
Right, Roger. Any of those? About Sully, but these others?
It's got to be Sully, but they're all so bad. I mean, Wake's coach, which if you
like he's got a job,
like Meghan and I went to Wake Forest, you would believe it. Just in general for that whole area.
Yeah.
And Tennessee and Georgia, I guess we're used to that. Of course, used to all that. I mean, although we're used to Sully, but that was beyond what he normally does, even. And yet, belt to ass guy is still taking up for him.
Yeah. I had heard things.
We'll have to have him on one night.
Tom Walter, he donated a kidney to a player a long time ago. But I also heard back even when he was at UNO that he was just not a very good guy. So it's kind of a tie of all four. And I've never liked O'Sullivan just because I feel like I asked him a question in an SEC tournament press conference 10 years ago, and he just kind of like, it was not I've asked bad questions. And I can't remember, but he just kind of answered it like he talks when he's on TV.
Do you like Trump does the CNN reporter?
That could have been, and then he sees Kendall Rogers and he's like buddy and everything. So every time I've seen Kevin O'Sullivan, he is red faced, he's about as red as our shirts. Yeah. Always has a scowl. I don't know. I really would love to know what makes him smile, or can you have maybe belt to ass guy can answer that question. But man, just I don't know. Baseball kind of brings it out.
Yeah. I mean, after watching all this, I mean, the antics of the Georgia guys, and they got their shirts half unbuttoned and they're flipping back. I mean, inevitably, when you have all this sort of stuff and people abuse their privileges, you get rules, right? What do you expect something in the off season that somebody is like, okay, a bat flip is an automatic ejection, or
I hope so. It wouldn't bother me a bit. I mean.
As my wife said,
incessantly,
my wife's sitting here, she's saying, it's not the Savannah Banana. I was like, come on, let's act like we've been here before. I always tell guys on the field before a big game, respect the game, respect each other, and I don't know if you are respecting the game, and that's not trying to be the old man here, but it's like, come on, gotta be better than this guys.
I think you're going to see some of that addressed in the off season, or kind of points of emphasis next season, because it's totally been out of hand, and it's in it's in the marquee time of the year when everybody's watching, and that's when it just kind of stirs more outrage.
Well, they a couple of years ago with all the Tennessee, the pimp coat and the boom box and all that, they calmed a lot of that down. With whatever the ruling was. I guess that same one with the kid stepping out on top of the dugout with his helmet on, the home run helmet on, and getting tossed out of the game. So I imagine there will be some kind of rules. They got to get some control on the umpires, though. There's just too much going, or they're getting a happy thumb throwing guys out, or a quick. They just got to.
Quick triggers.
They got to quit having rabbit ears. I mean, so much. I mean, if the magic word is said or whatever, but they need to realize they're not there for people's entertainment.
All right, let's go through a quick batch of questions. Some of these we've kind of covered already. Rob Vaughn Sharpie, who we had on the the extra with the right field Rangers, who I need to tell I'm going to maybe do a postseason recap with those guys as well. He had asked for a quick rundown of the guys out of eligibility, which we did. We talked about some of the incoming freshmen, but just passing along. Always thanks for what y'all do. So I just wanted to pass that on to you guys. I think we kind of covered his question. John Young Sr., great guy. No questions for me on this one, but just wanted to thank you all for giving us the content all season and supporting our boys in the program. Truthful, but always respectful at the same time. I think that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I think we're gonna, we'll call it out if it needs to be called out. But I appreciate that, John. We like I say, and I told him, we enjoy this. We're just talking ball here and trying to stir up buzz in the program. We get the kind of sarcastic questions about top pitching coach candidates y'all are hearing. We've addressed that as well. We're not changing pitching coaches, and we don't need to. So let's skip that. Sometimes Johnny MySpace, another one of our Ragers, and Roger, you met all these guys over the weekend in person.
Yeah,
great guys. Sometimes the biggest gets are the ones you already got. So of the draft eligibles, who all does the panel feel has the best chances to be in Crimson and getting ready to play a super regional at the Joe this time next year? But who's the biggest? We talked about is it Faye? Is it Adams? Is it one of these freshmen coming in? Who's your biggest get?
I'm gonna go one of the two of Adams and Faye, having a weekend starter, and then Hines. I think Hines is gonna come in and hit double-digit home runs next year.
Okay. Anybody thoughts on that? Anybody?
That makes sense. Adams or Faye, and or both preferably, but
yeah,
I think Zane, we probably have the best chance to get him back, and then Miles Underwood.
Miles, yeah. Upchurch. Yeah.
Upchurch. I don't know why I want to call him Miles Upchurch.
Yeah. No, Cody Kirk. Our guy Cody Kirk, birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Cody. If you could ban one fan from ever attending the Joe again, whomst would it be? I got one. Nacho, Alabama. Remember Nacho, Alabama, and all hell breaks loose. Like he shows up, we're winning 6-2, and next thing you know, it's 11-6.
Right.
That's what I'd say.
I'll go with that. That's a good one. Or no, Big Al.
Yeah, Big Al. Tell me about Big Al. I mean, look how inconsiderate Big Al is.
Big Al gets his big head in front of me and stands there and taunts me.
Yeah. So for Roger, it would be Big Al and Caitlin Collins.
Yes.
Inside joke, but we may have talked about it on here one time, but she was looking for her seat one night. It was like the weekend of the A-Day game, maybe last year. And when she couldn't find her seat, she was standing right in front of Roger.
Along with her brother and another guy. And the guy,
I think Hunter was there, so Hunter should have given her a heads up to say, sit down, but nope.
Yeah. Jamie M. Causey, no question for me, but simply a thank you. My favorite part of getting into sports at Alabama is discovering the amazing people that come with it. Your passion is clear to see, and I hope this only continues to grow for you. Thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate that. Will Ward, it's fair. When are we going to start winning more SEC series against the better opponents, and does our recruiting need to be better for bullpen specifically? Here's the deal with recruiting pitchers. You don't recruit for the bullpen. You recruit pitchers, right? It's kind of like
there's not closers and bullpen guys in high school.
Exactly. You recruit arms, and they evolve into roles, and they might be a bullpen guy one year, and then they're your Friday night guy or your Saturday guy the next year. I mean, could you stand to have better pitching? Could you stand to have 3 or 4 guys that are going the first 3 or 4 rounds of the draft? Yeah, I agree. When are we going to start winning more SEC series against the better opponents? I mean, we're doing that on occasion. I just think, consistency, you just got to have some consistency, right? I mean, we beat Georgia this year.
Tennessee last year.
Oklahoma.
Arkansas last year. I mean, we're doing that.
LSU last year, didn't we? Yes. Last year we did.
Life is hell in this conference, and you're not going to go on 17-year heater like Nick Saban in baseball. It's just not, and I mean, I'm sure he understands that. Hayes Flowers and another of our Ragers you met this weekend, Roger. How does one deal with the transition from Rager to regular ticket holder with minimal pain? So,
just buy bleacher seats.
There you go. Yep. And just let us
know.
know.
That's what I did for 3 years. And
there you go. And let us know when you're coming. And sometimes I got an extra I can send you or something. Just let you. We'll be in touch, Hayes. We'll keep you there. Here's one. I don't know if I'm going to say his name right. Is it Hakopian? The Hakopian, a legitimate target for Vaughn. Latest on Justin. Thanks for all you guys do. Thoughts on that? I mean, we're in touch with him, I'm sure, like anybody else. But
yeah, from what I read, he was a Wake Forest commit, and he didn't commit until after Rob had taken our job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was, kept him from commit. I don't know, something might have happened at Wake or whatever, but that's what I had read. But the
shortstop at Maryland.
Obviously, those guys
Maryland, by the way.
Those guys would know him and would have recruited him. So he's going to have a very high price tag if I had to.
Yeah, he is. And he's going to have a lot of suitors.
And I mean, he's a shortstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although he played third base as a freshman, but he's probably looking at one, shortstop or more of a money position. So
right.
Yeah, he's probably looking at that for draft wise. So.
Yeah. And that becomes, I mean, your immediate suspects on that become the Arkansas, where Eloy is, draft eligible. There are others, I'm sure. Is Milam eligible? Is he?
Milam's a sophomore, but he might be eligible. But
maybe also can't remember.
He's not all that.
No. I'm just thinking of if there's a place in it. I mean, those are the
Tennessee, I guess.
Yeah, those are the teams that are going to be in the bidding for those upper
Kobe will be gone from Florida.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Although that guy, I guess the other guy, was he a senior?
I can't remember.
He was good. He played third base when Kobe was playing shortstop. But he killed us at the plate.
Right. All right, that's the last of those questions. Any closing thoughts, guys, on the season or in general?
It goes too fast.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yep. Here we are on June 4th. I guess the season kicked off middle of February, but it's about a 3.5 month sprint. You hope you can get it out to about 4. I would just say to the fans out there, the real fans. I mean, a lot of people are just kind of microwave fans when the regional weekend comes and are only vocal when something goes wrong. Look at the team in general and just look at the big picture. Consistency, 2 years under the staff, both years at regionals. No, we hadn't had success at regionals, but you won 16 games in this conference this year, which is that is tough to do, man. We had not, we did that a few years ago, but it's had been a while since that had happened then. I think we're on a great trajectory with this program. I feel like the guys coming in are going to help. I think your name is out there that now with portal and just, rapid transfers without recourse being a thing. You're probably a destination now more so than you were even last year. I think you've kind of gotten your name out there. So I feel good about the general direction of this program. And it's like any other thing. Next year we might go 15-15 in the conference. It might even be a better team. You just don't you don't know. I mean, I feel like we take a little step back next year just based on what we're losing, but it all depends on the guys you got and how they step forward and what the new guys coming in contribute. So stick with them. The support for these guys is great. We got a small core and we need to grow that core. I think the more you grow that core, the better the program is going to be. We've enjoyed doing these. We'll do another one this summer and the roster kind of shakes out because I don't know if I can go all summer without talking ball. I don't know about y'all. And we'll come up with some other ideas for some content to kind of whet the baseball appetite for folks.
I think you always say, Paul, and Roger would say the same. If you're around Tuscaloosa this fall, get out the Joe will be bumping. There's going to be fall games. There's don't know any weekends yet. It's way too soon for any of that, but there will be at least one fall doubleheader thing going on. Keep an eye on the schedule. If I'm obviously not local, I think it's already news that we're going to do another D1 baseball event somewhere. That could be Vegas, who knows where. It's to be determined, but keep all eyes on Alabama media.
I would expect it to be Frisco. Actually,
we're thinking Frisco is what we're thinking, right? Maybe like that second, third weekend.
Frisco again, yeah.
Shout out! I'll give a shout out to Nick, the new SID. I think he did a fantastic job.
He's great.
Guys this year
really good stuff he did.
Yeah. Right. I'll do the same for all, the guys that cover, Will and Simon and all the local guys. I won't say them all because Emily, they'll do a great job covering the team, where the bigger outlets don't necessarily do. We get some attention from the D1s and all like that, but they got to cover the whole game. These folks that are, Ryan and all them, they've really done a good job, I think, of, publicizing the team and getting the word out. Hopefully what we're doing is getting out there to people and they're enjoying the the banter about it and the guests that we've had and that type of thing. And we'll keep doing it. I mean, we enjoy doing it. And I think we'll keep right on doing it through the summer and into the fall and prep for next season. All right.
As we hear more on the roster, the draft and the roster and the portal, everything, we can do a couple of things during and then we can probably get a couple more of our guests on and do couple of those extras fall this summer at some point.
No, I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be a good time. All right, folks. All right, well, we enjoyed it, folks. I hope you enjoy watching the Supers this weekend, and go ahead and keep your eyes on those because we'll be in them next year. Let's get ourselves ready. Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks to our regulars. Thanks to Christian. Thanks to Crimson Crossover for hosting and launching this every week for us. And Peter Slide and Campland take us away into the off season with the Joe. We'll talk to you next time.
Swing it, boys. Swing it, boys. Swing
it, boys. Swing for the fence. Shove it, boys. Shove it, boys. Make 'em miss. Some big league chew in a baseball souvenir. Come on, sing with me now. The Joe is home, sweet home. It's roll, tide, roll. The Joe is home, that's right. Home, sweet home. Hey, look, is that Roll Tide Willie over there? Well, it's Bama Blitz.